Welcome back to another episode of GL Rustic Design. Today we're going to be building a 6-foot dog kennel. So the first thing is cutting the base. You need, or cutting a few pieces of the kennel. 8 pieces cut at 28 inches long, and this is my top of the kennel, which will be 6 foot long by 30 inches wide. And then you have the front and the back and the bottoms, which is set 4 pieces cut at 70 inches long, and then you have 10 pieces cut at 25 inches long. So take 4 of the ones you cut at 25 inches long, and you need to cut off 3/4 of an inch to allow to all 4 of these pieces will be sitting underneath the kennel, so you will not see them at all. And then once you get that done, drill pocket holes in every piece that's 25 inches long. And then so the top 4 will need these 2 pocket holes, and then the bottom 4 pieces that you just cut that you cut the 3/4 off will also need those 2 extra pocket holes that holds the floor down. So here you need to drill an 1.5 inch pocket hole in all of the 10 pieces that you cut at 25 inches long, which will hold the front and the back together. Then you take, so here we're starting with the base, and then you'll have the pieces that you cut at 25 inches long, two of the 2x4s, and you'll set those on top of the pieces that you cut at 70, attach those by pocket holes, and then you'll take all 4 of the ones you cut the 3/4 off, and attach those to the very bottom of the 2x4s. So I said, so here, all 4 of these, this supports the floor of the actual kennel. So once you get all those pocket holes attached, you'll flip it over and attach the other piece that's 70, so that you have all of you have 2 pieces at 70, and then you have 2 2x4s at 25, and then you have the 4 2x4s that you cut the 3/4 inch off, that will go, like I said, that will fully support the floor of the actual kennel. And you can kind of space these out. I wouldn't put one in the middle, but kind of think if you have a dog, maybe a quarter, maybe space them out by 4s. And make sure that they're even. So if you put the first one at 12 inches, make sure you put the other side at 12 inches as well, so that the floor in the end comes out even. So like I said, make sure you have everything lined up before you continue doing the floor. Attach the 1.5 inch pocket holes there. And then in the next segment of the video, we'll be talking about the floor. So measure the actual floor of the kennel. So it should be roughly 67. So I'd cut it at 66 3/4 or 66 7/8, somewhere around there. Length, and then the width. You already know that it's 25 inches. So make sure that you do it, an 1/8 of an inch smaller than that, or a 1/4 of an inch smaller than that. So here, I just used pine for the actual floor. I used oak for the rest of it, minus the top, which was hickory, which later became pine, but we'll get into that later. So here, I'm using the Kreg K5 machine to attach the whole floor together. So there, I put all the pocket holes in, so that I can here, in just a second, attach the actual floor. So line all these up, and then attach the actual floor from the underneath side. The top of the kennel is made the exact same as this floor. So later in the video, instead of trying to explain it, this is the same concept of how I made the very top of the kennel. And then, so once you get all of those pocket holes attached, so these are 1.5 inch pocket holes, you want to line them all up inside of the base of the kennel that you just made, and then kind of wiggle it in, get it nice and snug to where you want it, and then come from the underside of the kennel and attach the pocket holes from those 2x4s that you cut the 3/4 inch off, so that the floor would sit flush with the front of the kennel. Attach all those pocket holes so that the floor is held down from the bottom, so that there's no screws for dogs to get hair on or for you to rip anything off. So once you get this done, the next step of this video is we're going to get into the actual frame of the kennel. So once again, I used some old oak lumber, red oak, white oak. So I had to do a few more sanding steps and whatnot to get it done. But here, use the pieces at 28 inches. All 8 pieces, you'll drill 4 pocket holes, 2 on the top, 2 at the bottom, at 2.5 inches long. And then you'll start on the very back. Don't put it on the very back 70-inch piece, but make it flush with the 25-inch piece so that you still have 1.5 inches on the back. And then, so the very front of the kennel, drill the 2 pocket holes down into the front, and then use another piece, butt it up against that piece, and then you have 2 small 1.5 inch pocket holes that you'll attach the piece that you butted up against to that together, so that it makes everything nice and flush. Here again, if you do not like to use pocket holes, you could always use Torx screws or Phillips head screws, and just put them in the face, or you could always use nails. I like to try to hide all of my holes, so I try to use I try to get around all the holes as much as possible. So the same concept here. Once you get all of those, so you have 3 on this side, 3 on the other side, so 6. So you have 2 left, which will go in the middle. So here we're marking off where the actual holes where the 1/2 inch rebar will go. You mark, take a tape measure 3 inches, and then we're going to have 3 on the front as well. And then go ahead, so you mark 3, 6, 9, and then 12. If you have a smaller dog like a Yorkie, you want to put these about 2.5 inches apart. So put the this is what the door will later mount to. So like I said, so mark it off 3, 6, 9, and then at the 12-inch mark is where this 2x4 will go. And then you'll later come back with a square, and you're trying to find the center. So 3/4 of an inch here, and then once you have all those centered up, you can use the top. The piece that I'm lining up here is the actual top. So I was trying to find which side will go up and which side will go down. Once you get all of these lined up, just put your mark, and then use the same square method to find the center of the 2x4. And then so you'll come back and you'll have your once you finish the front of the kennel, same thing, the 3 bars, mark that off, square all those up, and then you'll come back and do this is the front of the kennel, the pieces that's cut at 70. I'm going ahead, I'm pre-drilling those pocket holes front and back, so that I don't have to do that step later. Once again, that's 1.5 inch pocket hole. These pocket hole is for attaching the top, pulling the top down, is the goal in this. So here I'm lining up the Forstner Bit. Once again, I will link all this in the description below. I'm marking off 1 inch so that I know where to stop with the Forstner Bit. A Forstner Bit is a much cleaner hole than if you just use a regular drill bit. So here I'm doing the Forstner Bit dead center of the hole, making sure all those holes, so you have 5 on each side, and then you have 3 on the front. Once you get all of this pocket hole, once you get all the Forstner bolt holes drilled, should be 8 per side total, 5 on the side, 3 in the front. You want to come back and use the 2x4s. Same method as you've done the base, except for you don't have to worry about supporting anything. You don't have to worry about the top sitting in. So I said same method, you're using the 1.5 inch pocket holes to hold down the top. And then just for later use, in case someone wants to use a TV on the top, then they can, the top is supported by the underneath 2x4s. So here I cut some pieces that were 3/4 thick at 28 inches. This will be for the back. You can use 2 of these. You can use 3 of these. I chose to use 3 just to have a middle. And then from there, 1.5 inch pocket holes in the bottom and the tops. And then you'll measure that off, just trying to find the middle. I like to do this because I'm so used to making a double door kennel. I like to try to find the middle. So once the back is supported, you'll go to making, use another 3/4 inch piece for the back, kind of act as paneling. Some people use plywood here, or glue on or whatnot. I choose just to use a 3/4 inch piece of lumber so that it matches, so it's fully flush on the back. And once again, I chose to use some very old oak lumber that I had laying around. So here I use 2.5 inch screws, torque screws on the sides, and then on the very middle I use a 1.25 inch torque screw. The goal on the side is to fully meet all of those together in the back. So here I'm working on the top of the kennel. Like I said previously in the video, it's the same concept as the floor. A bunch of 1.5 inch pocket holes so I can butt all those together. And I actually used, in this video, I had hickory that I had initially thought I was going to use. I ended up swapping it to pine because I had another customer that wanted the hickory without any stain in it. And this customer wanted it to be stained, and I really didn't want to stain the hickory. So therefore I switched it out to pine, which it's all the same, it's all cut the same. I just wanted the grain of the hickory to show. So like I said, same concept. Pocket holes underneath it, and then make sure you hold all those together so that you have one big flat top. And if anybody has any questions or any way of how I've done things, if I might have forgotten a measurement, if I might have forgotten to link a certain thing, please drop a comment below. And if you haven't yet, please like and subscribe my channel. It helps so much in getting me out there, getting my name out there, because I really enjoy building everything that I do. So here I'm just showing the general idea of what the kennel will look like before it's painted. I chose to paint it off camera just because I didn't think y'all wanted to see me paint or stain a kennel. I will link out all the paint, stains, everything I used in the description below, just so you're not lost on what to do. I said, if you have any questions, please let me know. So here on the door, you measure the distance that you have, and then you take off 3/8 of an inch to 1/2 an inch, and then you cut those 2x4s. And then for the tallness of the door, same thing, which the tallness of the door you've seen was about 20.5 inches for 2x4s. So all these get 2.5 inch pocket holes, and then you'll take the once you drill the pocket holes in, attach those to the base, or make a line first. Do the same concept that with the marker off 3 inches in between. So this is where the bars will go on the front of the door. And then come back with the square again and make sure that 3/4. This thing has really came in handy compared to just using a regular tape measure. It's much quicker. If you do a lot of these like I do, then it's most definitely worth the money. So like I said, so I'm just matching up the top here, and then you drill all those holes in, and then you come back, clamp down the ones that you marked off, and then you pop the 2.5 inch pocket holes into the door on each side. And then I put all 4 of these in, and then when I flip it over and I do the other bottom or top, however you look at it, I only put 2 of the 4 pocket holes in, just because I know later in the video it has to come out. So just to jump ahead to the next segment, once you get these attached, you're done with this. And then like I said, I painted everything white. I painted everything twice. I stained the top, and then I used 2 coats of Minwax polyurethane on the top, which you'll see later in the video. So you have to have some way of cutting the actual the 1/2-inch rebar you can get from any kind of local hardware store. Usually 20-foot sticks is what they come in. So you have to have 16 pieces cut at 30 inches long. I use a Dewalt metal chop saw. I used a sawzall with a metal blade prior to this, and I just come to find out the blades just don't last as long as I'd like. I save a whole lot of money by using this method. And then once you get done with this, you have to get all of the rust off of the rebar before you spray paint it black. So the 30 inches, 16 pieces at 30 inches long for that, and then the door, you need 7 pieces at 22.5 inches. So here I use a bench grinder, Dewalt bench grinder, with a wire wheel on one side and a rock on the other side. And then I'm just rotating around against the rock first, just to get off the kind of rough edges. And then I go across the wire brush. This is the most tedious part of the whole build, just because it doesn't necessarily have to be perfect, but you want them to be pretty close. And gloves and safety glasses are most definitely recommended here. So once you get that part done, you can spray paint the bars whatever color you want. I just used a very basic, not cheap spray paint. Do not go to Lowe's or Dollar General or wherever and get the very cheapest spray paint you can find. Get a very good spray paint. This has came back to bite me in the butt many a times. So get a decent spray paint. I choose to use Rust-Oleum. Once again, I'll link in the video below. I'll link in the description below. So once you starting to attach everything, you have to deattach the side pieces that you cut at 25 inches, as you've seen I just done. And then you have to line up all of the bars in the hole. They should be perfectly straight up and down. And then in the sides you have 1.5 inch pocket holes. You want to leave the front two not in, because you have to obviously put the front bars in. So here you see me taking those back out, because I just realized that I had to put the bars in the front. Once you put both sides are exact same in the kennel. So I had flopped over to the other side, and when you come back to do the front, it's 3 bars, it's in the front, 5 on the side. And then once you get all of the bars in, there's 2.5 inch pocket holes going from the pieces at 28 inches all the way to the top. So the goal next is to attach those straight down. So make sure everything's lined up nice and squared, and then you attach your 2.5 inch pocket holes, and it pulls everything nice and tight. And then same way with the back. I like to use clamps on both ways. Clamps really act as extra hands. Some of these things, there's no way I could hold this kennel tight together, hold the top down, without a few extra clamps. So they most definitely, it would be one of the very first few things I bought if I was starting a new shop. Like I said, if any of y'all have any kind of tool questions or projects that you might be interested in, I build a whole different variety of projects every week for different customers all across the state of Alabama. This week, I said I really been trying so hard to get a kennel video out, and I finally got just a few extra days in my time schedule to get a video out. And please look forward to my wife and I were about to start building our dream house. So that's going to be a long documented series, fully built shop, house, everything. So please stay tuned for that. So to get to the back of those pocket holes in the back, you have to take the very top piece off, maybe in the top 2 pieces off, and then those are inch and a half pocket holes to attach the back of that. And once you reattach all that, you can move on to the door. The door is the same concept as all the sides. Take one of the sides off, put all the 1/2 inch rebar in, and then you have to wiggle all those in. Once again, this can be very tedious, especially the first time you do it. It can be very annoying when you get one in and then the other one just pops right on out. So get all these lined up again. Clamp everything down. Attach those 2.5-inch pocket holes in. And then once you get those in, you can move on to attaching the hardware on the door. I use a black barrel lock. I buy most of my stuff, order it from Home Depot or Amazon. Is I've come to find out is the best or cheapest, and you still get pretty good quality. So here I'm using some gate hinges as the door. It really brings out the whole kennel itself, especially if it's it's on the face of the kennel. So it's just a few simple Phillip head screws that attach those on the front, and then when you move on to putting it on the face of the door, I like to use a little 1/4-inch piece of Luan that I usually have multiple pieces laying around. I got a lot. I always have scrap wood laying around. So some people like to use 2 locks for the door. I just use one. I haven't had any issues yet. But so here you see me, same thing, Phillip head screws with that little 1/4-inch piece of Luan, just to keep the base off of the ground, off of the bottom of the kennel, so that I know that it's going to swing open. And then once you get those in, you can attach the part that the lock slides into on the other side of the door. I usually just extend the lock out, slide that piece in, and then bolt it down so I know where it's going to go. So when you do that, I like to line the 2 front pieces up, just so, because if the door is off square, or if the door is half a 1/4-inch this way, it really shows. And it's just an easier way for me, just to kind of pull everything to where it needs to be, make sure everything's square, make sure all the gappage is right between the door. And then I attach those pocket holes, and then when I take that clamp off, I do the same with this side, make sure everything, the gap in between the doors are all the same, and then we go from there. So once you get all those in, I attach the bolt, and then I show you the next segment. I walk around the kennel, I attach the top of the kennel, which I stained in espresso by Minwax. Then this is where those pocket holes come into play, that you drilled to go upwards. It pulls all the top down, and I go all the way around, so the top is fully attached. I just want to appreciate everyone who's watched this video. Please like and subscribe my page. It's really helping my channel out. I have a lot more videos and a lot more ideas to share. Like I said, brand new shops coming, brand new houses coming, so y'all won't have to look at my starter shop here in a few months. We should have that almost done. Like I said, y'all will be the first ones to see all my new stuff. So once again, thank y'all, and I hope y'all like my kennel. I think it came out good. Have a good day.